Alrighty, it's 1 o'clock and 37 seconds, 41 seconds. Coming back into session for the purpose of to hear some land use items and a regulatory update. Emily, could you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Thayer?
Here.
Commissioner Richardson?
Here.
Commissioner Schroeder?
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum. We're back in session. Have 3 items on the agenda today. One is a hearing that I understand is going to be recommended for continuance on approval of amendments to Metro District service plans. The second is a economic development zone site plan for an RV and boat storage. And then the third item, also in public hearing, would be a regulatory change. First 2 items are quasi-judicial. The third is legislative. They are all generally handled in the same manner. It's just if there were questions on appeal or changes, they go to different places depending on what type of hearing they are. But I do understand that the metropolitan districts for Spring Valley Ranch, there's a request for a continuance. Do we have a date for that?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Mark Dettenreiter, Director of Community and Economic Development for Elbert County Government. The applicant has requested a continuance, a time and date certain of Wednesday, September 25th at 1 p.m., please.
That was the 25th?
25th.
And that, I'd assume you're representing that, CJ, or you have a different? Okay, thanks. So with that, I would accept a motion to open this hearing so we can continue it.
Mr. Chair, I move that we open a public hearing on Spring Valley Ranch Metropolitan District Number 5 amended and restated service plan and Number 7 service plan for Metro Districts.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to open a public hearing regarding Metro Districts 5 and 7 of Spring Valley Ranch. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. We're in public hearing. I would accept a motion to continue this to the date time certain.
Mr. Chair, I move we continue this hearing to a date time certain of Wednesday, September 25th, 2024 at 1 p.m. in this location for the Spring Valley Ranch Metropolitan District Number 5 amended and restated service plan and Number 7 service plan for the Metro District.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to continue this hearing to a date time certain of Wednesday, September 25th at 1 p.m. at this location. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries, so that has been properly continued. I would accept a motion to close hearing on this item at this time.
Sure, I move we close public hearing on Spring Valley Metropolitan District Number 5 amended and restated service plan and Number 7 service plan for Metro District.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to close public hearing on that item. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries, so we're at a public hearing on that. Next item up is a hearing to consider approval of an economic development site plan for high-tech RV and boat storage. Once we open, the general process is staff will present the application. We may or may not have questions for staff after the presentation. We will invite the applicant or applicant rep to provide any additional information. Again, we may or may not have questions. We will open for public comment, provide an opportunity for staff and applicant to address any issues that may come up during public comment. And again, we'll likely have some questions and comments of our own at that point. And then once that is complete, if we feel we have the information sufficient to come to a decision, we'll either approve with conditions or potentially deny. If we feel that there's information that is still needed in order to come to a decision, we may ask or discuss a continuance. But that's kind of the process that is followed for all public hearings for all different types. But as a site development plan that's within the EDZ. The overlay zoning is in place to contemplate lots of different uses within the EDZ. And so in this case, as a site development plan, generally is an administrative function that goes straight to staff for things that have very set zoning because of the flexibility and the opportunity to do many different things within the EDZ. Our regulations have site plans for that area come to the Board of County Commissioners for a little more full consideration and public input. So
You need a motion?
I do. So with that, I would ask for a motion to open public hearing on this item.
Mr. Chairman, I move we open the hearing on high-tech RV and boat storage business, EDZ -2023-14 not 022.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to open public hearing for the high-tech RV and boat storage EDZ site plan. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. We are in public hearing. With that, Kelsey, I assume you're the presenter today.
Yes, I will be presenting. Sorry.
Thank
Usually it is lighting up green. I thought it was down here. Okay. Well, good afternoon, commissioners. For the record, Kelsey Lanham with the Elbert County Planning Department. I will be the one presenting the high-tech RV and boat storage case today. It is EDZ-2023-14022, and the applicants are requesting approval of an economic development zone site development plan. Just want to give a little warning. I usually abbreviate that to an EDZ SDP just due to how long it takes to say the whole thing. So if you hear me say that, that's what I'm referencing to. So like I said, the request is for the approval of an EDZ SDP for the allowance of an outdoor storage for RV and boat. The subject property is located using its parcel number currently, and that parcel number is 83253-00-117. So the applicant is CJ Curse on behalf of the property owners Brenda Lee and Wojciech. This project started back in October of 2023 with their pre-application meeting. A formal application was submitted back in May of this year, and then here we are today for the project's first public hearing in July of 2024. All noticing was completed in accordance with the zoning regulations, which included surrounding property owners receiving a mailer, newspaper publication in Ranchland News, and a sign posted at the subject property. And at this time, the county has not received any letters from the public. So in the next 3 slides, you'll see the little red star, which is indicating the property we're discussing. The subject property is approximately 4 miles east of Kiowa at the intersection of Highway 86 and Mall Road. So the property is currently zoned agriculture with no prior use other than that. The immediate property to the west is owned by the applicants as well and does have a residence on the property. The surrounding zone districts, as you can see, are primarily agriculture, with some properties to the north and west being agriculture residential, residential agriculture, or RA1. In this picture, it is a little bit easier to identify which other property that the applicants own, and it's the one immediately to the left of the red star. The landowners are beginning the process, along with the help of their applicant rep, CJ Curse, to begin the process with Elbert County Assessor to combine both of these lots. In the staff report, there were only 3 standard conditions of approval shown. However, a 4th condition of approval is being proposed to this application and will be shown on that slide. So this property is within the EDZ overlay district. The EDZ was created in 2019 with the purpose to facilitate the implementation of goals and policies of the Elbert County Master Plan and to promote economic activity and mixed uses along Elbert County's travel corridors. The EDZ overlay does end along Highway 86 about 2 miles to the east of this subject property. And this is their EDZ site development plan exhibit. The storage business is proposing to offer 514 spaces and will not be phased out. Just to mention again that the applicants own the property directly to the west. The business will be accessed off of Mall Road. There will be no overhead lighting proposed to keep the dark sky appeal. The entire business will have fencing around the property and a security gate and a security box at the entrance. At the security box, that's where customers will essentially enter their code to get into the business. Above that security box, there is one light that's proposed, but it is motion censored. The applicants are proposing 20 evergreen trees that are already 5 to 7 feet in height to be placed along the north fence line to provide screening from Highway 86. There will not be a dump or wash station, so no septic or water is being proposed. And a detention pond has been engineered and designed to receive flows coming from the storage business. A full drainage report was prepared for this application and provided in the packet. During the referral process, the application was sent to various agencies for review. Currently, there are no outstanding objections from any of the agencies. Public Works and Road and Bridge originally required paving of Mall Road, but the Public Works Director has since made the recommendation to leave Mall Road as is. Engineering had no objections to the provided plans, including the drainage report, and an access permit has been issued by CDOT. That is permit number 424064. The following agencies did not respond during the referral period. So Article 3, Section I of the zoning regulations determines that an economic development zone site development plan must follow the review criteria set forward in Article 3, Section H, number 4 for a site development plan. The 8 criteria are as follows. Number 1, the use is in harmony and compatible with the surrounding area and neighborhood. The proposed use is in harmony and compatible with the surrounding area and neighborhood. Number 2, the use will not have an undue burden on available infrastructure. The use will not have an undue burden on the infrastructure, and drainage report was required for the project, and an engineered detention pond was designed for the property. Number 3, the use will not unduly increase traffic congestion or burden the existing road system. The use will not unduly increase traffic. The proposed business obtained an approved access permit from CDOT. And number 4, the use will not cause significant air, odor, water, noise, or light pollution. The proposed use will not cause significant air, odor, water, noise, or light pollution. The proposed business does not propose any overhead lighting or septic or wash stations. Number 5, all sanitation requirements will be met. The business is not proposing any septic or dump station. Number 6, the use will be adequately landscaped, buffered, and screened. The applicants are proposing 20 evergreen trees that are already the 5 to 7 feet in height along the north end of the property. Number 7, the use will not otherwise be detrimental to the health, safety, or welfare of the present or future inhabitants of Elbert County. The proposed use will not be detrimental to those in Elbert County or those in the future. And number 8, all supplemental standards are met for the specific uses as applicable. This proposal has met all supplemental standards. So With that being said, Elbert County Planning staff recommends that the Board of County Commissioners approve high-tech RV and boat storage economic development zone site development plan. And the recommendations are subject to the following conditions. Number one, the applicant will be required to remove the public hearing sign within 7 days of approval by the BOCC. Number two, the EDZ SDP should not become effective until all fees are paid, conditions of approval are met, and the EDZ SDP exhibit is recorded. Number three, recordation of all appropriate documentation is to occur within 180 days of the BOCC's approval. And number four, which is the new recommended condition, the economic development zone site development plan shall not become effective until parcels 83253-00119, which that one is the property to the west, and 83253-00117, which is the subject property, are legally combined through the Elbert County Assessor's Office and recorded.
All right.
Thank you. I'm available for questions, and the applicants are here today.
Okay, thank you. Have any questions for staff at this time?
Just a quick question on our packet, and there were staff recommendations for following approval for conditions. Our number 4 is different. It says the applicant is required to obtain a grading permit from the Elbert County Public Works prior to any earthwork. Is that still one of the conditions, or?
No, it is not.
All righty. Is that all you had? Okay. With that, I'd invite the applicant up, or the applicant rep. Thank you, CJ.
Afternoon, Commissioners. CJ Kirst, Talent Consulting, 5730 East Otero Avenue, Centennial, Colorado, 80112. I'm here today representing the landowners. Kelsey did a great job summarizing it. We do not have any issues with the conditions. We do recognize that a grading permit is required as well as a commercial access permit, which is something that Road and Bridge brought up when we were going through the CDOT access permit. So otherwise, I'm here to answer any questions you may have, but all in all, Kelsey described it very well.
Any questions for CJ?
Just a quick question, in that our Public Works people said now you don't have to pave it. I'd like to hear what you would do to upgrade the road to handle the traffic between Highway 86 and property line.
I'll be honest with you, that just happened today. Our plans still reference the road being paved for 190 feet, so we were prepared to do that.
I think Commissioner Schroeder might have some insight.
Okay.
So
We spoke with Public Works this morning after our morning session, and they went out and observed a couple times yesterday, and just having a small spur of pavement causes a lot of issues for them as far as snow removal and upkeep and that sort of thing. So that's why they didn't want to keep the pavement. But they did see that there was possibility that needed some ditch work along there and some upgrade material to be brought in to make that road surface a little bit more firm with the heavy traffic that's coming in and out of that. So as I was talking with Public Works Director, maybe one of our conditions will be that there's a road use agreement that gets put in place. And he's pretty reasonable as far as what our expectations are with this, so that our folks can do the work, but it'd be part of the condition of approval.
Not a problem.
all righty. Yeah, I think that, actually, I was going to bring up the paving thing myself, so it looks like that is covered. If I may, my eyes have failed me. How far off the road is that setback? It's pretty substantial,
Yeah, it is pretty substantial.
okay, yeah, because
I believe it's
293 feet.
Okay, no,
That's to the evergreen buffer.
okay, thank you, because just having been on 24 on Calhan, there's something that looks similar in size down in El Paso that probably wasn't set back that far, and visually it wasn't a lot of impact visually at
So
probably
in addition
150
to that,
yards, so.
there's 40 foot for the evergreens and then another 40 feet before that first
Okay, yeah,
stall.
so that is
So-
really a substantial distance off the road,
Right.
so, okay. I guess we potentially have some, well, we'll open for public comment and then probably discuss again, so. Do we have anybody that would like to make public comment on this item? Yeah, you're more than welcome, sir. This is your hearing. You are certainly a member of our public as well.
My name is Wojtek Zdanovic. I own both of the properties, and this one as well. The idea is that we don't want to have any impact from the road. Like, we want to have, that's why we're not proposing any lights. The lighting actually, there won't be any power available on the solar. So I'm aware of the light pollution. So that's the idea. Also, we purposely pushed it back away from the road. As you see that paved area right there, that was also so the traffic is not impacted. So there's nobody is impacting traffic turning in. So they have a plenty of room to turn in. And also, we pushed it back from Mill Road as well. So that's the idea, and that the minimum impact. Because I have a property, a house there too. So.
Yeah, I appreciate the actually thoughtfulness of that. That makes
So we are aware of that. People don't want to see it. I get it. We want to have a lot of trees and things like that. So.
okay. And I saw you're nodding and thumbs up on potentially a condition just for the road use agreement. And
That's fine.
it made a lot of sense for Public Works not to have to push a snowplow truck out for 200 feet of pavement. We may need to look a little bit at the apron coming off of 86 to make sure we don't drag gravel onto the state highway as people park.
I kind of was wondering about that from the get-go because, to be honest with you, the ditch would be better there to make it a little bit bigger when they push the snow off Highway 86 than that asphalt. The asphalt won't do much. We just sit there. So we'll do whatever you guys need to do, and we'll work with them however we need to work.
I appreciate that. Do you have any questions for
You have any
the
questions?
owner?
Just an oddball question. I drive by that twice a day going out to where I live. I live east of you.
Okay.
And there's a big dam there already.
Uh-huh.
And this new retaining pond that you're going to put, is that above or below the dam?
Below the dam. Yeah, so you can see it right there. Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, CJ, if you've got better graphic. Then. Thank you. Just for the record, if that wasn't captured, CJ had just showed us the drainage plan and showing us that the outflow from the detention pond would match the inflow capability of the culvert at the corner of the property under Mall Road. So
We try to keep everything, whatever's natural there, in place. We just added, obviously that's a requirement, so we added. So everything I try to do as minimal as possible to the land itself, and whatever's natural, we want to keep it natural.
thank you for that. Anything else?
No, I just really appreciate the effort of keeping everything back and having a buffer from the roads. I don't even live out there. I'm sure that your neighbors really appreciate that. So thank you for that consideration.
So with that, I guess if there's no other public comment, sir?
My name's Anthony Osborne. I live directly north, across the highway. I do appreciate that you offset it. I'm going to look at it every day. Not real excited about that, but I don't own that property, so there we are. Did I understand that there are 20 trees going across that? 20 trees?
Yeah,
So that's what, a half mile of highway? My property's a half mile, and I'm pretty sure that our boundaries are pretty close. That's not
Commissioners, I
combined,
can't
that's
capture the
just one.
conversations.
Okay, so it is a quarter. All right, and so
about
the
a
20 are
quarter.
gonna be on half of that quarter,
Yes, it's
the
about.
20 trees? Okay,
It's about half, the reason for the trees is because they're gonna, we have to assume that they're gonna grow.
yeah,
So we put in
understood.
the big enough trees right away,
Yeah,
so immediately you're not gonna see it. The idea behind it is that it's gonna grow and cover more.
yeah. But my initial thought was it's 20 over half mile, but now we're 20 over the eighth mile, and I understand they're gonna grow, so that's a lot better than I thought.
yeah, and
I am concerned about traffic. Every month or so, I have to repair my fence because someone drives off Highway 86. There's a hill that drops right it is to the west of Mall Road, and it's difficult to see that. And I'm concerned about traffic there. I don't know what can be done about it.
I do think that's a reasonable concern. We can have public, I mean, the access has been granted by CDOT, so I assume they've done the right things, but we can have our public works double check and make sure there's not additional signage or trucks entering ahead type signage that should be put out to warn folks.
How far is it from Mall Road to the entrance to the facility?
It's in so there's a ditch there. If you drive on the 86, when we put in that, you're not gonna see it from where, because it's amazing, just the tops. Because that's the why we put it in there, because it's away from everything. It's a natural ditch in there. And there's a whatever you can call it, river or running through this. So to the north of that, naturally, it's down low. So everything is as minimum as possible. I don't think you see it much. You're gonna have to look for it.
Yeah. Just to,
Though your property's lower than the highway also at that point.
We go to the south.
if I may, we're trying to keep all of this on the record, so if you'd like to finish up your comments, I'll certainly invite the applicant to wrap up to kind of just have that discussion back on the record, just so.
My last comment
Yeah.
is what are the criteria to determine whether a proposed development is compatible with the existing neighborhood?
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you, sir. Yeah, so if there any other public comment at this time? Okay, seeing none, I'll close public comment. Sir, if you wouldn't mind just kind of reviewing the comments you just made about how the tree placement would be and the ditches and the masking of traffic, so it's, the conversation you just had is on the record.
So the proposed business, what we're gonna do there, in that particular area, it's much lower than Highway 86. It's just naturally, it's low there. The idea behind it was we want to put it in there so it has a minimum impact visually from Highway 86. The trees will provide additional screening, so it's very, very minimum visually. It is away, the hill that you was talking about too, that, over the hill, that we are basically a half a mile to Moore Road from that point also, so you won't see that either. Going towards Lyman, I don't think you'd be able to see it anyhow. So we're trying to do as much as we can just to block it from the view.
Thank you. And then while you're up here, there were three very standard conditions of approval, and then we talked about a fourth that would be just execution of a road maintenance agreement with the county. Would those be acceptable to you?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Chair, if I could just chime in. So it would be with the agreement with Public Works, it would bring it to a total of 5 conditions. For
The fourth that you presented, oh yes, was
so
the
then
combination of the
Public Works
parcels.
would be number 5, just for
Okay, thank
clarification.
you. If that's acceptable to you.
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you. That's what we've got right now. Thank you. And for the gentleman, I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Anthony, thank you. Your question on compatibility. So these lands that are under the EDZ went through public hearing to designate what that overlay area was, I think in 2018. So they're already deemed somewhat, I mean, the specifics of each business has to be looked at, but they were deemed to be compatible for a variety of uses. And I guess that's the decision before us. That is one of the decision criteria for myself. Personally, I think the work that has been done to site this in a way that there's very minimal visual impact will keep it compatible with the use in the surrounding areas. But that's my personal opinion. I know that that's probably one of the most subjective criteria that we deal with on any land use opportunity. I mean, any change is going to be different, but that's for the EDZ or any place where you're really looking at a site plan for something that's already zoned for use. It's almost baked in unless there's something incredibly unique or extremely impactful that's being proposed. So, thanks. With that, is there any final discussion or?
Do we need to take a couple minutes and write out what the new 5th condition is so that we can add it for Kelsey to have in the documentation?
That would probably be good just to have it locked in. My assumption it is be execution of a road use agreement between the applicant and Public Works. But if those words work, we'll take about a 5-minute recess so you can type them up and we can display them so everybody knows what we are considering. Alrighty, folks, it looks like we've got the 5th condition drafted, so if either the applicant or CJ as rep, if you want to review those and say if that makes sense to you, I'd appreciate it. Actually, I think the approval would be between you and Public Works. And
Yeah, it seems like it's an acceptable.
yeah, if we could, the agreement would be between Public Works and the applicant. Presenting it to the planning department as a executed agreement is probably more appropriate than planning department approval. So. If you could change the word approved to executed in the second line, I think that's clearer, because it is an agreement, so both parties would have to, there's not really an approval step beyond.
Okay, give me 1 second.
So would that word change, CJ, and the applicant? Does that work for you? Okay, I'm seeing a head nod and a verbal, it's fine, and a thumbs up from the applicant. So with that, unless there are final comments, I think we could proceed to a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve high-tech RV and boat storage business EDZ-2023-14022 with the 5 conditions of approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve this application with the 5 conditions of approval that are listed on the monitor, and those will be in the resolution. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Sir, you have your approval, and I wish you great luck and good business. And actually, before we do close the hearing, I do thank you for the comments and the input from neighbors, and it seems the willingness to talk and express concerns and work through them. Very often, things become adversarial, and it looks like we have some good neighbors out that way, so on both sides. So thank you very much. With that, I would accept a motion to close this hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we close the hearing on high-tech RV and boat storage business EDZ-203-14022.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to close public hearing on high-tech RV and boat storage. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. So we're out of public hearing on that item. Thank you very much. Thank you. All righty. We have a little bit more business today, and that is to address some regulatory updates. We'll give a moment or two for the room to clear. All righty, the final item we have before us today is consideration of the Planning Commission, regulatory updates that are being recommended through the Planning Commission. Mark, I assume as the last man standing, you are presenting this today.
Yeah, I'm it. You're looking at it. Thank you. Mark Dettenreiter again, Director of Community and Economic Development. So, Mr. Chair, would you like me to proceed?
But first I must open a hearing, so thank you for that prompt. I would accept a motion to open public hearing on this item.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move that we open public hearing on consideration of regulation.
Second.
A motion and a second to open public hearing on regulation updates. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. As I said earlier, this regulatory updates are a legislative action versus the quasi-judicial, so a little different area of appeal for the previous hearing. If somebody did want to appeal our decision, that would go to the courts as a legislative item. It would be readdressed to our board. So, but with that, Mark, the floor is yours.
Okay, great. Thank you again, Mr. Chair. Commissioners, so as you mentioned, these are regulation updates, and these come to you in small, manageable pieces, if you will, some minor updates here for your consideration. In April of this year, the Planning Commission did recommend approval of this set of regulation update proposals. And then in June, the Board of County Commissioners heard this at that time, and we had a continuance. There were a few items, or a couple items rather, that you had indicated you'd like to have adjusted. Staff, we went back and made those changes per your suggestions and recommendations. There are 8 primary items, categories within this set of regulation update proposals, And number 5 pertained to one of the items that you requested to have us look at further. That has to do with mailed notice procedure. This is page 43 of our zoning regulations. And here we added a section on requiring certified mail for mailed notices for land use hearings. And we have included that, and we're here to get your feedback if that's suitable on that item.
Could you refresh me the page number again?
Yes, that would be page 43 in the actual land use documents in your packet. That would be on page 21.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Number 5, it's titled Elbert County Zoning Regulations, Article 2, pages 39 through 48. And this particular piece was on page 43, and the addition of the certified mail would be a requirement for public hearing mailed notices.
Appreciate you including that. I'm not sure if there's comments from the rest of the board, but we have had unfortunate occurrences over the years where notice has been flawed, or there have been errors, in many cases, I think, outside the control of ourselves or the applicant, that may fall squarely on the postal service. But when we've had hearings where there's 50 or more individuals that are showing up for something that we then can't hear because notice was not proper, I think this is really the only mechanism we can put in place to ensure that everybody has been noticed. It obviously does add some expense to the applicant. Taken alone, probably, could potentially be in the realm of several $100, but rarely does any project come before us that isn't totally scoped to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to complete. So I just have I think, to err on the side of making sure that everyone is aware when there's a change in land use. I think this is appropriate. So. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. And the next item, if you go to page 23 of the packet materials related to this, it's number 7, Elbert County Subdivision Regulations Road Acceptance is the title. And here was the inclusion of another recommendation from you all related to roads, but then adding signage. So subdivisions will be responsible for the maintenance of roads and signage.
And again, this is another one of issues that come up for clarification of who exactly has responsibility for the roads, particularly the signs, is what's been added here. But it makes it very clear. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it just brings in everything, the roadway out to the edges of the right-of-way all have to be dealt with, and anything traffic control or pavement or gravel needs to be included in that. Anything else? Those really were the 2 that we had asked you to look at. So.
Yes, and indeed, Mr. Chair, that was it of those that you requested. And then just for all of your knowledge and information related to next steps. So if this were to be approved, then we would get this recorded, and then this would be the new current version of our zoning and subdivision regulations. And then we currently have another round of minor revision proposals that are in the queue. In fact, we've already had an opportunity to visit with the Planning Commission during a work session on this next round. And we'll just keep bringing these forward to you as applicable and appropriate and in good time, so we remain consistent and vigilant to a degree in making sure that the regulations are where they need to be based on the Planning Commission and your guidance.
I thank you for that. I think it's probably, well, at this point, I do need to open for public comment on the two changes that we're considering. Seeing none, I will close public comment, and I would accept a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move that we approve the regulation updates as presented.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the regulatory updates as presented. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. I'd accept a motion to close public hearing on this item.
Mr. Chair, I move that we close public hearing on consideration of regulation updates.
Second.
A motion and a second to close public hearing on this item. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. We're out of public hearing. And Mark, if you wait, just what was the general flavor of the next round of changes we were looking at?
Yeah, thus far, the feedback that we have received from the Planning Commission has been favorable, and we have, based on that work session that we conducted a few weeks back, we documented and captured the notes and the requests, and next step there would be to provide the Planning Commission with those minor edit suggestions, and then set it up for public hearing, and then have them provide a recommendation to you.
All right. Yeah, after the, I mean, just in the discussions with the Planning Commission, I know quite a few of these have been generally either administrative in nature or lesson learned from something that wasn't going quite right during a hearing. Have we had any proposed changes generating from the Planning Commission themselves, or is this staff-driven? Is it coming from Planning Commission? I'm just trying to get a feel for our processes, because I know the commissioners being appointed from throughout the county have, you know, they bring in opinions and have contacts that staff may or may not have with the public. So I'm just kind of curious what the drivers are. Would you say primarily staff, primarily Planning Commission, 50-50?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I would say in broad terms, it would be staff-driven in terms of the feedback maybe we have received over time, or just through our, working with the regulation book, and we identify things that are maybe, there's some inconsistencies or, lessons learned, as you mentioned, those type of things. It seems like in each one of these rounds now, and we're just getting started with this group in terms of staff, there are just usually a couple in the mix that, are a little more substantive, even though it's not major changes textually, but, there's a fine point on something that, let's have you all look at this based on experience and make a good change.
Thank you for that. Anything else for staff? Nope. If you don't have anything else for us, Mark,
that's all. Thank you.
Indicated you have not. That completes the items we had on today's agenda. I would accept a motion to adjourn for the day.
Mr. Chairman, I move we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to adjourn for the day. If you're absolutely sure you want to, please vote yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. We are adjourned. It is 1:54.